ultimately, I think what we want people to know about that might be interested in opening a Matty G is that you're really selling an experience.
100%. That's the goal. We don't want to have four walls that have no life within it.
Hmm.
Our goal is I remember watching on the cameras years ago at one of the restaurants, and you couldn't hear, but you could see families all just interacting and smiling and laughing.
Hmm.
And obviously, our servers are working their butts off, and you could see the kitchen. But I was really proud of that day. Like, it was like, you know what? We took something that had four walls that had no life to it, and we
Hmm.
brought in not only an experience, like you just said, but families remembering times. Because
Sure.
as I get older, I don't know about you, it's about the memories and it's about the
Yes.
times where you can talk, oh, I was with this friend, or my family was this, or hey, remember when my son did this? He only ate corn dogs, and then we, taught him how to eat a burger, kind of things. Those are all the things that we try to portray and try to create for not only the diners, but yeah, franchisees as well.
Yeah, Matt, a little bit more about your backstory when you first opened Matty G's. What was life like when you first opened the business? Was there a struggle? Did you have a line out the door? And what was it like?
We actually had switched it in a 5 day span from a sushi and
Right.
gastropub to Matty G's, and it wasn't immediate success. It was, some of the people, hey, I want sushi, we don't want burgers, blah blah blah. But it was one of those where I learned so much. Meaning, I've learned when I had my Italian restaurants, I knew the front of house like back and forth, but I didn't
Hmm.
know the back. And with Matty G's, I had to learn everything. I had to know everything about it. There's not one thing I can't do in the restaurant. I'm not the best prep guy, but there's not anything I couldn't do. But we had to build the business, and we did have to treat every customer. To this day, we want to do the same thing. Every customer um, that they were wanted, that they were appreciated, because I did have restaurants that went out of business with the crash of '08
Hmm.
and nobody came in. So every
Mm.
person that comes in, I truly want to say thank you. We really do appreciate you spending your money. And in today's world where it's a little tough, we really appreciate you spending your money at our restaurant because you could go many other places.
Sure. Was there a turning point for you specifically that you felt like the business really started to take off, or was it just a matter of showing guests more appreciation and connecting with the customers? What do you think it was?
When we first started, we had happy customers, but couldn't go to the next level as far
Hmm.
as building the brand. We were making, a small profit or breaking even. But we opened a second store, and that's when I realized we could replicate this. And it was more of a family environment rather than a downtown area where we
Hmm.
were. And that's when I realized we got this. Like, we went to, it was in Murrieta, California, is where our second spot was, and it was an hour drive at best, 3 hour
Wow.
drive if you had traffic. But it was great in that, the first day we opened, we always try to do a soft opening. We don't want too many people so that we can work out the kinks. But the third day, we had like 45 people in the first 15 minutes we opened.
Oh,
And
wow.
the server slash manager was like, hey, can you get down here? I can't. Do your best. Who would have thought on a Monday we'd have 45 people by the time, 15 minutes in? And that's when I kind of realized we got this. And we've gotten better and better and better. Each day we try to improve, and the product is top notch. The
Hmm.
process is pretty easy to follow once you're explained. But if you put some, I never understood it, but if you put some love into your burgers, you're gonna get just an amazing product.
Yeah. What made you decide to franchise the concept? And I could only imagine the people that are watching or listening to this that may be thinking about opening a franchise are thinking, okay, well, it's a burger concept. Like why would you franchise and how did you kind of establish yourself as being different?
As far as franchising, I tried to follow the initial In and Out model, which is a family owned kind of restaurant.
Hmm.
And I was running myself into the ground. I had some health issues, couldn't get enough support or the core managers, DMs, etc. And I just was working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, really. And
Hmm.
so I had some health issues, and my wife had always wanted to do franchising. And she's really the reason we're franchising. So we sold off the stores, kept our core store in Arizona, and then started franchising with the ability to say two things. One, we know we have a good product that will be successful if followed, the processes. But two, my older son's girlfriend's family, they were starting to do they wanted to invest in a franchise.
Okay.
What was interesting was we sat down with them and we were trying to push them away from the franchise they were deciding we are trying to follow. And what we realized or what I realized is they don't know how to make those four walls come together. Good business people, smart, great with people, but they didn't know how to put it into place. And that's when we realized, oh, we should do franchising because we can bring to that couple, for instance, who are going to be successful at whatever they do, we can bring them the product and the process and they can run with it. And that's how we could grow as Matty G's, but then they can have a successful business because they didn't know how to make those four walls come alive. And we did, and we can bring it together. And so that's kind of where the idea came from, along with, my wife going, hey, this is what we need to do. And eventually me saying, you're right. And she was.
You're a smart man.
She was.
What type of person, Matt, do you think is somebody who's going to thrive in your franchise system?
Ideally an owner operator, but not necessarily 100% have to be. An
Okay.
owner operator who can come in and has experience in the restaurant business and that can pay attention. When the cat's away, the mice will play. So we need somebody who's going to be there, who's going to take look at all the small things. What do they say? When nobody's looking, that's when greatness happens.
Right.
And so, being there after hours, seeing how the closes are, being there, watching the servers, the cooks, and how they go about their business and relating to people and making a good experience for the customer. That's the type of person. Additionally, we do have the investor type that are looking for a way to make some money on their equity. And so for them, they just have to have a little higher labor cost because they'll have to have a manager instead of themselves working and paying those people. But there's still enough profit margin where they can still have a successful business. And they still need to, be around, show their
Right.
face,
Sure.
keep an eye on things. But ultimately, mostly somebody who cares and is intelligent and is going to watch the restaurant.
What's your opinion on having a single unit franchise owner versus a multi-unit operator?
To each his own. I, it's hard to do more than one restaurant, but at the same time, if you're really good at one, you should increase. The potential to have 5 to 10 restaurants is something that, let's say, our Houston franchisee is looking at. And his goal is he wants to be the big burger guy in Houston. He's been out to Matty G's. He knows how great it is, and he's feeling the love and wanting to bring it to Houston, and then him being that guy.
Right.
And I think he will because he's got the skill set and he's intelligent and he's business savvy. He's going to do very, very well.
And it takes a different type of person with that mindset of I'm going to open multiple locations than somebody who just wants to run a great burger place.
For that person who wants one, it's a great life. It takes probably 6 months to get an established staff, maybe up to a year. But once the staff is running the restaurant, you're not there all the time. You're putting it in the hands of your staff, but still watching them from above, I guess is the way I would say it.
Right.
But you can have a great life and it's a great investment. You still take pride in having your friends come over or people telling you that's the best burger ever. It makes my days.
Of course. And you're trying to bring all these people together in the community, and that it's probably really important for people to hear that a Matty G's wants to be sort of a staple in the community, that people feel they can come together.
Back in the day, you may remember Applebee's when they were at their height. They always had memorabilia about local spots and everything else. And we try to get involved with the community with like our Mesa locations right next to a high school. So we're involved with them with, supporting the baseball teams or football teams with like coupons and their coupon books. But it's really cool when you're going, I don't live in Mesa, and yet I'll go to let's say a 99-cent store or a restaurant, and people are like, hey, Matt, what's going on? And it might take me a second to realize who they are, but it's really cool. Like, I just cook burgers. I mean, we just have a thing, and yet people are like, oh, my God, it's so cool to meet you. And I'm just the dude who cooks burgers for you. But, there's an appreciation they have, and it's very, very cool. It makes my day.
Because people are drawn to the brand, so they have this connection to you that you don't even realize.
Well, that's the other thing is I actually exist. You know, so many of these restaurants are like, does that person exist? Does that person?
Right.
I'm the one cooking for you a lot of times. You know, when we open restaurants, I'll be in that kitchen in the franchise making sure they're doing it right. I'll be the one probably the first couple of weeks cooking your burger for you, and you'll see me. So, you know, my family is going out to Houston to my wife, my 14-year-old son, my 19-year-old son. They're all going to be there as far as the opening. It really is a family restaurant. And like I was trying to explain to somebody recently, we're a corporation and we're a franchise, but we want to be as much mom and pop as we can, where we do recognize every single employee, try to know them by name. They probably know too much about me and I know too much about them type of thing. But at the end of the day, they're not employee number 17. They're part of the family. And that's how we want customers to be as well. And it's really cool when I go up to Idaho and see people and they're like, hey, how's it going? And I remember them from our first day or two. And you see them and they're still there. And it's really, really a cool
Thank
thing.
you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.